Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Chris.
Welcome to episode 149 of Adventures and Mousecapades. This week, we are celebrating the fact that since we live on the West Coast, we can make our platinum onboard activity bookings for Disney Cruise Line at 9 p.m. instead of midnight, 120 days out from our next cruise. Disney Treasure, we cannot wait to see you in February. Oh, and to Rachel from HR, of course. Bill Marin, Doc, you're welcome.
Yes. We actually had to arrange some carpooling for our son last night because we didn't want to pick him up from his activity at 9 p.m. and because we wanted to make sure that we were on our computers and booking stuff. So
Yes.
Yeah, we will be on the Treasure in mid-February.
February, yep.
Yeah.
In other DCL news, we've got a special guest with us this week, the DCL Cruising Dad. Welcome aboard, Chris.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you reaching out. And I know we did a magnet swap and all sorts of stuff. So you're in our lives and we're in yours.
Excellent. I love the magnets. I do enjoy decorating our stateroom doors. It's one of the first things we do. And by goodness, I have a great collection. And I'm almost running out of enough characters on Twitter to tag everybody. When I run into that issue, then I'll have to figure out what to do next. But I do enjoy the magnet collection.
Nice. So what's your Disney background? Was the world of the mouse a big deal for you or your family when you were growing up?
Yeah, growing up, we went to Disney a few times. I remember I have a couple fun photos growing up with a Goofy hat on with the brim and his teeth hanging down and big floppy ears.
Yep.
But yeah, we definitely went to Disney a few times. We're an amusement park family. We grew up in New Jersey, and Six Flags in Jackson was about 15 minutes away. So there were many years of season passes where we would go first thing in the morning in the summer, jump on a couple rides and head home, or head for a concert on Sunday nights and grab a funnel cake. So we definitely grew up around the amusement park. And also growing up, we took a cruise on Royal Caribbean. I think it was 1994. Sovereign of the Seas is what my dad has told me. And there's a couple photos. And what was amazing is even back then in 1994, we did family matching shirts. So I actually have a photo of all of us wearing the same shirt before that cruise.
That's awesome.
As far as Disney cruising, our first one was in 2014. My wife Sarah and my son Jake, he was 6.
Okay.
And that was our first Disney cruise. It was a 3-night done by the Dream to Nassau and Castaway. And what's amazing is I still have the emails from that. So we have the way you were able to sign up was so different back then.
Yeah.
It's fun to kind of pull it up and take a look. So that was kind of gave us the first initial appetizer. The one that really sold us as a family was our 2018 sailing on the Magic. And that was my wife, my son Jake, and Brooklyn, my daughter. She was under 3 because we used the nursery there, but my sister and her now husband joined us, and my dad and his significant other. And there are amazing photos of us all matching. Was on the Magic. Went to Key West, which was absolute blast.
Oh, yeah.
But that one really solidified. My wife grabbed a video of my daughter dressed in a Belle costume in the atrium dancing to the music. And she then sees the atrium statue, Helmsman Mickey, and the just look on her face of sheer joy and excitement. And she runs over and rubs on Mickey's foot. I have that video, and it's just absolute priceless. And I think that's where we just fell in love with Disney Cruise Line, and honestly haven't looked back.
Yeah. I mean, why would you? Like, it's amazing. It's a great bubble to be in. Like, if this is the bubble that we choose to be in, I don't want to go back and be in the real world. It's comfy in here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I even try to get them to say "Welcome home" when we come on the ship because that's what it feels like when we're walking on.
You've got a social media handle literally called DCL Cruising Dad. You've mentioned 2 cruises before. How many cruises, Disney cruises, have you been on, and who is in your typical sailing party?
Yep. So the typical sailing will be the 4 of us: my wife Sarah, son Jake, and my daughter Brooklyn. There will be a couple sailings that Jake wasn't able to join us, but for majority of the times it's the 4 of us. And the cruise that we'll talk about over Labor Day was number 12 for Sarah and I. Well, we have a couple extra cruises on the kids because we actually took our delayed honeymoon on a Disney Cruise Line. We did
Excellent.
the Fantasy. It was a 8-night Eastern that went to St. Kitts, St. John's, St. Thomas, and Castaway, and that was one of the reasons why the Fantasy is my absolute favorite ship.
Yeah, I can see why. That's a pretty awesome itinerary. It's definitely not the standard one that you get where it's kind of, Tortola and St. John's and Castaway. So that sounds amazing. We'll have to talk about that later on.
Yes, absolutely.
What inspired you to start putting out content related to Disney Cruise Line? I mean, you've kind of become a whole brand, if you will. What inspired you to do that?
Thanks to my wife, Sarah. She gave me that recommendation. She saw all the to-do lists, all the packing lists, all the notes I would take on the cruises and said, I see how much you love helping people in all the face groups. Why don't you make a website?
Yeah.
So I had no experience. I'm a pharmacist and had no technology experience. So that was one of my big projects. It was around the fall of 2022 that I started to build a website. Unfortunately, the first spot that I chose really couldn't handle the volume of photos and everything. So wound up redoing it and relaunching it in March of 2023.
Okay.
And I basically have been collecting photos, recommendations. I'm a big foodie, so I love taking photos at dinner.
Awesome.
Love writing down tips and tricks because I do love helping people. So if I could give them one tip or trick before they go on their sailing to make their sailing a little more magical, that's really the whole idea behind the website is I share as much as I know and people get to go on and enjoy and learn as much about the ship they're going to go on before they head on, or don't learn about anything. completely up to everybody. But I found a new passion, hobby. I like putting together videos of the cruise where it's talk about each part of the ship, talk about the food that we tried, the Broadway shows, a little of everything that you get to experience on the ship.
Yeah. That's funny. There seems to be a common connecting thread of lots of us who are in the content creator community around Disney often have the spreadsheets, the lists of all the things, and we are the people who everybody comes to. And it's just natural to like, well, let me just be a little proactive and I'll start pushing some of this stuff out since I already have it. So I love that.
Yeah. It's nice just to be able to go on, answer a couple questions in a couple sentences and just make their life easier. Because some stuff is just, it's not out there. And some of it's stuff that we experienced and are able to share and make recommendations so that they'll know what to do on their sailing.
Yeah.
All right. Focusing a little on your last cruise, you were on the Magic over Labor Day weekend a couple of months ago. What drew you to that itinerary?
A couple things. This was the first time we were going to be sailing out of Fort Lauderdale. Last year we did a sailing out of Miami, so I was excited to try a new home port, especially with how much Disney Piaz is on that port. And then also this would be our first trip to Lookout. So it was a kind of a double chance to experience something. And we haven't been on the Magic since that 2018, 2019 sailing. So I was really excited to get back on her since it's been quite some time.
Yeah. We're in the same boat, pun intended. We haven't been on the Magic since 2009.
It's been a very long time.
So yeah, we're going next November. So in like 14 months. So we're excited to get on that ship again. All right. So you mentioned Fort Lauderdale out of Port Everglades, first time being there. What did you think?
I loved it. So, one thing that we typically do with all of our sailing is I'll pair whatever Disney recommends for a hotel with ground transfer. I'm a huge component of using Disney ground transfer. Before COVID, we would definitely rely on the hotels and their services to get to the ports because they're typically pretty good.
Yeah.
After COVID, we did one sailing, stayed at a Cocoa Beach hotel, and the buses went to every single port, Disney last, and that was when they were testing, and weren't sure if we were going to make it on the ship. So after that, we started looking and saw, hey, Disney ground transfers. Let's take a look. Let's dive into this. And over the years, I've actually used it every single time, getting to and from the hotels and back from the port.
Yeah.
I even love it so much. I broke it down out of curiosity with 3 and 4 night sailings, the benefit of getting on the ship earlier,
Oh, yeah.
and what it would cost for like an Uber or a Lyft for a typical family. And it actually winds up being almost like free money to get on the boat earlier.
Yeah.
Or basically get on the ship a couple hours or at least an hour earlier.
Yep.
Really means a lot on a 3 or 4 night sailing, especially if you're a silver or a first time sailor. Getting that boarding group 4, 5, and 6 using Disney ground transfers really helps you out. So we've always, no matter what our status is, we've always looked at using Disney ground transfers. Plus, they'll grab the bags out of your room. They show up in your stateroom.
Yeah.
Really just makes it easy. And I'll be honest, I love the new Port Canaveral, staying at MCO Hyatt now, that they do the full check-in at the hotel. We got to experience that in May of this year.
Okay.
And I loved it. Well, we went down, I talked to them. They're like, yeah, everyone comes down. You get an email that says which time, based on your Castaway Club, you bring all your documents, your magic bands, and you're done. So once you get on that bus, when you roll up to the port, you're just walking straight through the little security and then up into the waiting area. I
wow.
I mean, that is, when they changed that, I loved it. I almost loved it as much as now Port Canaveral having face recognition.
Yes.
Yes.
Not having a passport is just really doesn't make sense when you want to. When you get off these ports, the facial recognition is outstanding. But yeah, to take a full circle back, we stayed at the Hilton Fort Lauderdale Marina. There was 2 or 3 hotel options, and I went with that one because in the past I'm a Hilton member, so it was easy for me to sign up. Now, a tip and trick is I always compare pricing through Disney Cruise Line through booking yourself. And I have found 50-50 times that one way is cheaper than the other.
Yeah.
And you always can use Disney Transfer whether you book the hotel through them. So always price check compare the prices at the hotel. So we wound up booking it directly through ourselves because I was able to use cash and some points.
Right.
And we use Disney Transfer. So we're a Southwest family. Flew in the night before, like always, the golden rule.
Yeah.
We used J-Ride, was the ride share service I found that would take us from the airport to the hotel. Takes about 10 minutes. Got there, got checked in. They had some information for me, basically how many bags on the sheet of paper, come down around 8 o'clock, check in. And then next morning we rolled in. I said hello to the guest, and they said, well, do you and 9 other guests on this large bus, which shocked me. And she said, come back at 10. We'll board the bus at 10:30. Got to the port at 10:40 because it's literally
right
5
there.
minutes
Right
away.
there, yeah.
I could actually see the cruise ship from the airport when we were flying out. I have a photo
cool.
of that. That's how close we are.
Yeah.
And when we got there at the port, they just walk you right through to the check-in line. You do all the check-in stuff, and we got to really enjoy the new port for probably about 30 minutes.
Okay.
I was so excited to take photos and really get to explore the app since it was going to have Lookout. So
Yeah.
the time went by really quickly. But
Mhm.
one other two huge things that I really liked about the port was with the concierge room being upstairs, when they call
Yeah.
out groups 1, 2, and 3, there's not this like massive herd that goes through the ears because they're already upstairs. So it's everyone's like looking around. And the other great tip, which I don't know if it's always the case, but with the Disney ground transfers, we got pixie dusted to group 3 instead of 4. So there was
Oh,
a little
cool.
green card that she said, show this when they call group 3. And no one got up for group 3 because everyone was upstairs already.
Right.
So literally the 9 of us that was on the bus just went and showed the pass and we got on. I mean, we were on so early the pool deck food wasn't open yet. They didn't open till noon.
Oh, wow.
But luckily we have our bathing suits on, and my daughter Brooklyn is a water baby, so we're in the pools immediately and getting ice cream, soft serve ice cream.
That's awesome.
Never have enough. So yeah, it was. I love the process. I mean, I can't wait to go back. Everything was so close, really easy. The port really is decorated nice with the Finding Nemo theme. They really did a nice job.
Yeah.
You get to walk through the ears. There's a great photo op. Really, really nice. Now the only issue was they couldn't link our Disney Band Pluses at the port. We had to I had to wait and guest services once we were on the ship later in the day.
Bummer.
Interesting.
But other than that, I loved it. I loved it as much as MCO.
Yeah.
Hyatt.
That's a great tip, though, because I think a lot of people I know in the cruises that we have coming up, one of the questions you often get is, hey, do I have to worry about my boarding time? Like I'm on the Magic Express or whatever, the DCL Express. It says I have boarding group 207 because I'm a first time cruiser. And what do I do? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, nope, you're just going to get grandfathered in and shepherded into one of those early groups if you're on a Disney bus. And so that is actually a really, really great perk of using the Disney transportation. It's not just simple. You actually do get on kind of earlier, like you said. If you are one of those first time cruisers, or maybe just silver or something like that, it can actually get you on earlier.
And 3 and 4 night sailing, you want every minute on that ship because that's going to go by real quickly.
Absolutely,
real quickly.
Yep. All right, we've buried the lead long enough. You got to go to Disney's new private destination, Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point on the Bahamian island of Eleuthera. What were your first impressions?
When we got there, it was a little overcast. So walking on the pier actually really was not that bad. It wasn't too hot. We did stop to grab a little water. I think there were no red wagons available. We didn't rush to get off. We wanted the first rush of people to kind of get off, and then we would get off after them. But the walk really wasn't that bad. But like I said, it was it kind of felt shaded because of how much overcast there was.
Yeah.
But we walked, kind of looked around, loved the new sign that they put on the welcome sign, and jumped right on the tram and headed over to the family beach area.
Okay.
Once we got there, we walked over and got a really good spot on the beach, grabbed towels once you got off the tram, and got ready to enjoy the great day. One thing that I really recognized early on in the day was I felt like the cast were really proud of the island. It was a very different experience than I've had at any of the ports, and I love Castaway. She is still one of my favorite islands.
Yeah.
But it was just a really different feeling, different vibe, just being on the island and seeing how proud everybody was. It was really great to experience that. As soon as we were at the beach, we got a couple of drinks from the local waiters walking around, and Brooklyn and I headed into the water. The coral or the wherever you snorkel really wasn't too far out, whereas Castaway sometimes the hidden objects in the water are a good swim. This wasn't too bad. And by the time we got out there and swimming, here comes the rain. So we got all of our towels soaking wet. So I quickly headed back to the tram stop and got some more towels. But overall, the morning was really, really just gorgeous. The beach is pristine. The sand is so soft. Really makes me think of a Caribbean beach.
Yeah. That's so great. So we've heard, and like kind of everybody who's kind of in the community heard so much. We'll just say there were a lot of opinions about Lookout when it launched back in June. Like, how did the destination do versus kind of those maybe pre-existing expectations you may have had going in?
Yeah. Well, yes, I did watch a ton of videos to kind of learn and read up on everything. So the family was aware, and we did go in with a open mind. There were a couple things that I really wanted to make sure we all got to experience some of the culture, some of the new food, and all of it I thought was absolutely outstanding.
Great.
I cannot wait, honestly, to go back. The food was delicious. We had no issues that previous people had issues with. There were very, very large fans. All the food was covered by the buffet area.
Mm-hmm.
We had tons of seating. We did eat closer to an earlier time than, say, like the mid rush of the afternoon. We had no issues. We ate at True True 2.
Okay.
So we kind of took my daughter up and perused the whole area, kind of see what she wanted. Got some food for my wife, and then I went back and almost got a little scoop of everything. I really wanted to try some of the new food with the rice and beans. I was very excited to try the yuca fries. Just get a good old fashioned cheeseburger. Overall, I thought the food was absolutely delicious.
Great.
I was very excited. Went back for seconds. Had some soft serve when we were done. We had no issues. We did sit, I would say, in the middle of one of the areas, so we weren't on the outside. So I don't know if that helped us. And one of the fans was one or two chairs and tables over.
Right.
But we had no issues. The food was absolutely delicious.
One of the biggest knocks is people were concerned, like especially the first 2 or 3 stalings was, there's flies everywhere and stuff like that. But we've heard pretty much all of that is, I mean, it's outdoors, it's nature. There's going to be the occasional bug, but pretty clean and pretty bug free from that perspective.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That's great.
All the area look great, and I even swung by Serenity to kind of see what their fans looked like, and they have cute little table fans, and I didn't see any issues there. Also,
that's awesome.
And the restrooms and all the bars and everything, it's pristine. It is really, really nice. They did an excellent job, and you could tell where you need to go based on the shape of the roof. So it is a great spot. I would absolutely recommend anyone, especially if you enjoy beach, a great beach day. It really is. We got to explore some of the rush out, gush out, the large kids water play area.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. My daughter loves slides. So we went there for a little bit, and there was actually a local YMCA club boys group type of thing, and they had a bunch of local kids there enjoying it, and they had great smiles. They were having a blast going down the little slides, and
that's awesome.
Their counselor was there taking photos while they were enjoying it. I was like, it was just really nice to get to experience something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the first I'd heard of, Disney and some of the local groups mixing like that, but sounds like it wasn't really an issue. I'm sure they're going to be super, not stingy, but very aware of who they're going to let in when a ship is in. And it sounds like, a managed group like that is, I don't see any issues with that.
I think that's perfect for the local kids for sure. Yeah.
They were having a lot of fun.
That's so great. That's so great.
I know Castaway is the other private island for Disney, and they are very different. Castaway comes with its own story, and Lookout is more based upon the culture of the island. Is one better than the other, or are they just very different things?
I would just say different things. I wouldn't say there's one better, or you're going to experience two totally different things. One thing is common is that just Disney owns them or leases them both, I should say. That's really the only common thread. Otherwise, you're going to get a whole different experience. And I wouldn't say there's one better than the other. It's going to be everyone's preference.
Sure.
But we didn't get to do any of, or because it was our first time, I really didn't look into doing any of the excursions. And there's a lot of different options on Lookout with very cultural intensive ones. And I still want to go check out that long nature walk versus Castaway. We did the stingray feeding, and that was a blast. That was an hour of absolute fun. Had a little GoPro, got to chase them around. So the good thing is that they're both beautiful beaches. They both have great barbecue food, and you get to see get to put your feet in the sand. You can't beat them. I mean, I honestly think sailings now that go to both, I like to call it Castaway squared because I'm a science nerd and math nerd. I definitely would put those on my radar.
Yeah.
Absolutely getting to go to both. And if I need to sneak in a Nassau just for whatever Disney wants, that's fine. We won't get off the ship, but I would love to get to go to both on each sailing. It's just so relaxing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's in fact our cruise on the Magic next November is going to be a repositioning from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Galveston, and it hits both Lookout and Castaway, and we were so excited to score that. So very much looking forward to it.
Excellent.
So outside of the stuff that, Disney's already looking to address, no place is perfect. Even Castaway has a few things that can be improved on. Like, what opportunities do you see at this point where Lookout still needs some touches, or where would you recommend Disney put a little bit of a time and elbow grease into?
One thing I would love to see, which I don't think will happen, would be a pool. I think that would be really awesome for maybe ones that just don't love the sand or don't love the saltiness of the ocean. A freshwater pool would be awesome. Couple cabanas around that to kind of lay around. I think that would be a great idea. Obviously, more cabanas would be great. I know that there are a couple more phases that are being looked at Lookout.
Yeah. Especially they keep adding more and more and more cabins to the concierge list. Like, it would be nice for those of us who don't sail concierge every cruise to be able to get a cabana every once in a while.
And I think the last thing that there's two things. I hope they do a 5K. I hope they bring that to both the islands. And lastly, I would love an overnight. And maybe we're able to eat dinner on the beach. Or get to really enjoy a late night sunset, or maybe not staying overnight. Maybe they leave at 10, 11 or something late, but really just get to spend the whole day at the beach, longer hours. I think that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Is there anything that you've seen at Castaway that you think they should bring over to Lookout? And conversely, is there anything you've seen at Lookout that they should bring over to Castaway?
Well, we do use Pelican Plunge and the obstacle course out in the water. Now, I know that's a cove there and it's protected. So you're not going to be able to just drop that in Lookout. So I would love that, but I know logistically that's not going to happen.
I think to your pool point, though, and kind of related to that, I do remember seeing some conceptual drawings of Lookout that had kind of a water park, a little bit inland. I think there's some opportunity to do stuff like that. It's an interesting dichotomy, though, with all the infrastructure to do a water park or even just a freshwater pool and keep all that running isn't necessarily in keeping with, especially what they're leaning into at Lookout with the environmentally friendly and part of the culture and all the rest of that stuff. It's more of a, then we have this thing that's completely different and is more of just like an all-inclusive style resorts outside areas. So it would be interesting to see how they were able to pull that off in theming.
Right. Absolutely. I have to say, I did love the shops at Lookout. We spent some time both in, was the Treasures of Eleuthera, the one with the locals, and Disney Tings, the regular shop. I got those confused, but we did love a lot of the new stuff, and we definitely spent some good time in the shop, getting a couple sweatshirt, a couple pins, got the drink cooler, So we definitely got to spend some time and get some first time sailing stuff from the shop. So I would definitely make sure you stop there. And if
Yeah.
your size wasn't found in the shop, there's that little last chance shop right before exit and entrance, and they had tons of shirts there also. So
Okay, cool.
little hideaway by Mangoes and Grove, the little coffee shop.
Right. Well, you said the right keyword for Alicia because she'll be going for all of the pins. So
Yes, I love seeing all the Junkanoo designs that they've Disneyfied basically, and that they've brought a little bit of the culture of the island and the Bohemian people into just Disney stuff. Like I know there's a Junkanoo Mickey design, there's a Junkanoo Donald, and I think they've done the Fab Five for him. So it's just been really cool to see what they've done artistically.
yeah.
And if you do miss the parade, the Goomba Cultural Center does have displays. So if you're not
cool.
able to make the parade or the show, if you go there, I went and checked out, and they do have a lot of really awesome stuff from the locals there too.
Awesome. Now, clearly the highlight of this cruise, and we haven't touched on any cruise to the Bahamas really, is going to Nassau. Like, how is Nassau? Like, that has to be like the most magical place on earth. Like, I get it, Disney World, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, Nassau in the Bahamas, come on, did you get off the ship?
Insert sarcasm here.
Yeah.
We did not get off the ship, but the day did start out great because we had Mickey Churro waffles. So,
yes.
that is a good morning. So we went up and grabbed a beautiful plate of those delicious edible bites that I still haven't figured out how to make at home, but I'm trying. I am trying. So yeah, usually a Nassau day, I'll spend some time with my daughter and go in the pool and send my wife off to a good spa day.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a spa that afternoon, and then Brooklyn and I went and did some swimming and go on some of the. She went on the Mickey slides and played in the little aqua play area and back and forth between the pools, watching a little funnel vision. Ate our weight in soft serve ice cream as always. And it's nice. The Magic has that chicken and beef shawarma station, a lot different than any of the other ships.
Oh.
Definitely grab a little pita, a little hero. You have your typical hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken tenders, pizza.
Yeah.
But that was different. I was excited to try that. And it was delicious.
Cool. That was definitely not there like 16 or 18 years ago, or whatever the math is of the last time we were there. So looking forward to trying that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Typically our Nassau days, if there's no sea days, Sarah and I would try to grab a Apollo brunch. But actually, when I went to sign up being platinum, it was actually sold out.
Oh, wow.
So I tried to get on the list at Soul Cat Lounge when we got on, and unfortunately it was completely booked. So he took my name, but never got a phone call, but that's okay.
Yeah. It's tough to do those on the shorter cruises because there's just so much demand and not enough time to fit all that stuff into.
Let's talk about the Magic a little bit since it is Disney's oldest ship. How's the old girl doing at the ripe age of 26?
She's looking great. I was really happy. It was very interesting to once we got on the pool deck to see the different layouts. Over the last year, we've been on the bigger ships. We've been on the Wish a few times, the Dream and the Fantasy. So I'm used to those kind of layouts.
Yeah.
All the pools, and then I got on the Magic, and I was like, oh wow! I was like, there's just this one pool.
Yeah.
I was like, and there's just one area. I was like, all right. It definitely felt a little different, but at the same time, it was a lot less people.
Yes.
So that was definitely something we haven't experienced in a while, but had a couple of little hot tubs too. So it was a nice layout. I was very, very, very happy with it. But definitely when you walk into the atrium from 1998, I was like, wow, this definitely does feel quite smaller versus walking into the grand hall of the Wish that's 3 decks high and wow, very different, very different. But I do love the wood nautical theming throughout the ship. It definitely feels like the old liners that it was inspired by.
We talked a little bit before on email, and you were mentioning like it felt like a completely new ship since the last time that you were on the Magic back in the before times before the pandemic. Like, what were some of the bigger changes that you noticed that you really enjoyed?
First was the Soul Count Lounge, where I went to try to get the Palo brunch. Really, the theming in there is absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't believe all the little intricate details that they have. Just go in there and spend some time. And it's a very large, well, I guess large venue. So there's a
Yes.
lot of seats,
Yeah.
great area to sit down or just walk by and listen to the music. That was definitely one of the highlights. Was checking out that new lounge.
I love that about the magic and the wonder and the older design. I think that is the biggest departure that Disney has made is they have made all of these spaces, while there may be more of them, they're individually a lot smaller. And so that lounge there off the main lobby, the pub is
So much bigger on the smaller
for
ships.
sure. Yeah. Even stuff like Azure or whatever it's supposed to be called, depending on who you work for, I guess that's our influence showing through there. Yeah. They're just so much bigger. There's more room to just sit down. Like Alicia pointed out, like in the pub, we could always score a place in the pub to do some board games or do whatever, but we seem to be locked out of those areas more often on the bigger ships. So that's definitely a highlight from us too. What else stood out on the Magic to you?
I liked having the adult lounges in one area. So once you went through those doors, you had Fathoms, Keys, and O'Gills, and all right in that area, all a little different. That was awesome to kind of get to experience all that different area.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that took a little while getting used to is how much smaller the elevators are. So fitting 6 people in the elevators was a lot different feeling than it was on some of the bigger ships. And I was like, wow. But it was also a lot easier to walk the decks too, since a lot fewer to go through. We were, our stateroom was actually on deck 8. And we loved being able just to walk up one flight to everything. And I was concerned. I was like, all right, are we going to hear a lot of footsteps or anything like that? We had no issue. And the location we absolutely loved. Brooklyn was able to just, can I run up and get an ice cream? Sure.
Yeah.
Run up one flight of stairs, grab an ice cream, come down. The only problem on the pool deck was the first time I had no clue where the soda station was. It took a little while to figure out it was all the way in the back, kind of hidden on the side of cabanas.
Right.
But overall, I mean, I thought the ship felt great. It was nice to be on a smaller ship, smaller people. Also getting to experience Animators, the original one, was nice because we've been on the Dream and the Fantasy, and I've seen the talking to Crush video and stuff like that. So getting to see the Fantasia one was a real nice treat.
Yeah. That pulls at my strings all the time. Can't wait to go back.
Like Nathan said, we've chatted a bunch over email before today, and you've said that this is one of your top 3 DCL cruises. What is it that made it stand out?
Well, one of the biggest reasons was our servers. Now, these 2 did come recommended from a couple different people, so I requested them, and they were absolutely outstanding. They were fun to interact. They remembered all the drinks. They were able to play fun games with us. They were able to serve quickly and really explain the menu, give us their recommendations. They really felt like they were part of our family, even though this was only a 3-night sailing.
Oh wow!
But they were by far one of the best serving teams we have ever had. And I'm like, I need to know where you are in your future sailings, because we'll always recommend you. One of the things I really wanted to try to get for Brooklyn was Rapunzel's Royal Table was the last night. I wasn't sure if they're going to sell out of those little light up Pasquales.
Oh yeah.
The first night I talked to our assistant server, Iwan, who was outstanding. I actually requested him on our next sailing on the Magic, which I don't know if you've ever recommended a assistant server.
No.
He was that good that I actually was like, I would like him again because our head server was not going to be on the sailing. She was had a couple months of vacation,
Yeah.
and he was able to just to set one aside for when day 3 came. It was one at our table for Brooklyn. So little things like that really just made my heart really feel great because I really looked forward to surprising her with that. And I have some great photos with her interacting with the thugs and Rapunzel and Flynn, all with the little Pascal lighting up. So it was amazing. Like a little $5 thing, just absolutely just set the night away.
Yeah, they've come a long way in that restaurant from Parrot Key because that's what I remember. Or whatever it was called. Was it Parrot Key on the Magic
or Parrot Key? I don't know. It just
whatever it was.
I don't remember what ship. Yeah.
I want to just touch real briefly on kind of your more recent cruise experience or non-experience as it turned out to be, because unfortunately a certain hurricane got in the way of that trip. We had to cancel literally last minute during the COVID days. We had a testing fail morning of, so we understand how traumatic that whole thing can be. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your experience and making it through that tough decision to cancel, and how did that go with Disney, and like what was that all like?
Yep. So my wife is from Florida, so she has lived through a couple hurricanes, and we were watching very, very, very closely, and with it consistently being a Category 5, we were both concerned during the sailing kind of what weather we would have, whether we would be docking at any of the islands, or would it just kind of be a 5-night at sea, which wouldn't be bad. This was a K-squared Castaway Nassau Lookout sailing.
Yeah.
And with it being a Category 5 and how bad it was going to come through, we were concerned with that. We figured Disney would stay away from the storms and keep everybody safe. Knock on wood, my family doesn't typically have motion sickness on ships. Being a smaller ship out of a rough sea, that could have happened. And then really was getting home also was going to be the really big concern, where if people were delaying their flights, they couldn't fly home. And then we come in Saturday and we couldn't get home. Kind of what were our options? So basically we decided the Saturday before we left on Sunday, we were packed. My wife and I sat down and kind of talked about what were the pros, the cons, and we wound up deciding that day to cancel the sailing. I was able to get some money back. I was able to cancel our flight, so Southwest gave me the miles back. I wasn't able to cancel the hotel, but it was used again, used some points and some cash.
Got it.
So and Disney did understand.
Yeah.
So we had trip insurance on this sailing, so we were able to get back a portion of our sailing for canceling it.
Yeah. Well, that's fortunate. That's fortunate.
So
but
I always recommend booking travel insurance during hurricane season.
Yes.
Lesson learned.
Absolutely. And I think kind of speaking of trip insurance, another thing that we've found, especially because we do a lot of trips and we have travel involved, not, believe it or not, we do go places not including with, not just for Disney. We've found like an annual travel insurance plan to actually be a heck of a lot more economical, and it'll cover you for whatever travel you happen to do for that calendar year or whatever period that you sign that up for. So it's something to keep in mind if you've got $100 here for your flights, or a few $100s here for a cruise, and another couple $100 for flights or whatever. Like it all adds up, and all of a sudden, the annual travel plan, if you've got a few trips on the books for a given year, really might make sense. So I don't want to throw any names around, but use your favorite search engine and look for like annual plans for travel insurance. There's some good stuff out there that can give you the same kind of coverage that you would enjoy either going directly through Disney or directly with whoever your provider, travel provider may be, and checking that box to do travel insurance. You can save a lot of money by just kind of doing a blanket umbrella plan for all of your travel. So something to keep in mind.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to look into that.
Yeah.
So what is next on your DCL itinerary?
The next 2 sailings we have a quick little getaway. My daughter, or the school here, always has off the Friday before President's Day.
Okay.
So it's a nice, quick little getaway that I've consistently booked pretty much the last 3 or 4 years to have a little sailing then.
Nice.
And our big one is going to be the Treasure in March, which I'm super excited about.
Excellent. Well, we'll let you know how it goes.
Yes. Now you're going in February. I'm excited to hear.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to kind of hear what they replace with the Olaf's Royal Picnic. Royal Picnic. Because we did that back in 2022 and 2023, and we did the Royal Court Tea in 2023. Also, my daughter was primed for those age, so I'm hoping maybe they'll do something where you get a little mini guitar or ukulele and something like that.
I don't know. We probably won't partake of any of that stuff. Our son is coming with us. Our daughter's in college, so this is like one of our first big trips that she's not going on with us. But our son's,
He's 13. He'll be 13.
Yeah, he will still be. Sorry, I'm getting too many cruises, too many plans. He's 13. That's not something that would probably interest him at all. And we're also sailing with all of our friends. In fact, that was the booking window that opened up last night. And so it's like, we need Apollo brunch and we're going to do Prima Notte and we're going to do this and we're going to so we will be probably not booking that, but I'm excited. We're excited to see that ship, and I can't wait to experience all that is new. I wish Disney had done some tweaks to some of the moved some walls for some of the minor walls and some of the shops, and made some things bigger and shrunk some other things. But it is what it is. We'll all survive.
We'll still enjoy it.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris. Well, it's now time for Alicia's patented Disney torture test. So good luck with that.
Excellent.
This is just your Disney favorites from everything under Disney, like Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, anything. Excellent. Who's your favorite character?
Yep. So I have a 2-year-old Boston Terrier named Jackson. And early on, his mannerisms are extremely similar to my favorite character, Stitch. I call him my little mini Stitch. And ever since we got that dog, I absolutely love Stitch. My daughter got me we call it a Stitch-O-Lantern. It's a Halloween themed Stitch. I have a couple different little characters that are stitched by my night table and at work. So really, Stitch has become my favorite character. And I didn't even know he actually has a pirate costume on the Fantasy in May.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually going down to guest services to grab the paper navigator because I still absolutely love keeping them, and I always ask for them. And we literally were waiting in line, and here comes Pirate Stitch. So I have awesome photos of Jake and Brooklyn in their pirate outfits with Pirate Stitch.
That's amazing. Well, you would be best friends with our son because he is all Stitch all the time.
All Stitch, yes.
Excellent.
What is your favorite movie?
I can't decide between Inside Out 1 and 2. I really loved the second one.
Yeah.
But I think I would give the nod to the first one, the OG, Inside Out. I just love the idea of all the little different characters in your head, and joy, sadness. It's just a really good put together movie.
Yeah.
Your favorite ride?
Ooh. I would go with the Aqua Duck.
Okay. Wow.
I did not go on the Aqua Dunk on the Magic, and I feel like the Aqua Mouse is just too quick. Like I felt like if it was a little longer, I would like it. I do like that it's a double ride line. I get to go on it with Brooklyn or Jake, but I would definitely say then I'll go with the Aqueduct.
Now, I realize you may be leaning into the DCL Cruising Dad brand here, but nothing like that's winning over anything in the parks?
I haven't been to the parks since I was a child.
Got it. Well, that would explain that.
That would explain that. That's why I was like, I could throw in some Six Flags roller coasters I grew up on, but I don't have any amusement park. I would say Dumbo's flying or the teacups.
Yeah.
What is your favorite DCL ship?
The ship will be the Fantasy.
Okay.
That was the one that my wife and I went on with our honeymoon. I think we've been on it one or two times since then, and just love the Europa theme. Just love the overall feel of the ship. It wasn't one of our first ones, but it's definitely my to go to. If I'm picking one, I'm gonna grab the Fantasy.
Excellent. Have you been on the Wonder yet? That's the one I haven't heard mentioned.
I have not. That is the one that eludes me, and I keep trying to maybe figure out a flight out to San Diego. I'm waiting maybe 1 or 2 more years to look at the Wonder and doing Alaskan sailing.
Yeah,
that's definitely on my bucket list.
Awesome. Well, you can wave at us on your way over Seattle on your way to Vancouver.
What's your favorite restaurant on the ship?
I would think I'll give it to Rapunzel's.
Okay.
I really loved the food on that one. The ahi tuna, the pretzel bread that started out the meal, the tangled pasta, and that sweet bread at the end is just delicious. And the creme brulee cheesecake.
Oh my gosh,
I was super stuffed walking out of there.
Well, Chris, you're 2 hours ahead of us. We haven't had dinner yet, so thanks for that.
I'm not making creme brulee cheesecake. I'm sorry.
Oh, come on.
Do you have a favorite snack on the ships?
Besides the endless soft serve ice cream, on some of the longer sailings, we've actually had a Mickey pretzel that they would walk around the pool deck and give you.
Huh, I haven't seen that.
I'll send you a photo of me eating one. I would say on the Dream and Fantasy, the little accoutrements that you can get at the Vista Cafe.
Oh,
like a little chocolate croissant, a small little Rice Krispie treat, just enough to kind of like hit that little sweet note when you grab your coffee, no matter what time of the day.
Yeah.
I would say that is my favorite hidden snack.
Love it. Love it. Well, Chris, is there anything about the cruise and anything else that you'd love to share with our audience?
Besides the website, I do have a YouTube channel where I put out videos of anything pretty much on the ship. Super organized. So if you're sailing on the Wish, you're sailing on the Fantasy, the Dream, and the Magic's coming up, feel free to go and watch a couple videos. They're not super long videos, and they're very specific to one thing, whether it's the food, whether it's the kids' clubs, whether it's the pools. I try to be as specific and as easy to find. So go check those out. That's DCL Cruising Dad 2022. When I started this all, go check out the blog. We have trip reports on each one of our trips, and let me know what you guys like and see.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Chris. Really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better, and I know we will keep in touch, and we'll be comparing notes for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, definitely come on and talk anything DCL anytime.
Well, we are not affiliated with Disney or their subsidiaries. These are personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. Well, and Chris's too. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting Disney directly to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have any questions or suggestions, or would like to be interviewed on our show to share your own Disney experience, please send an email to podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
You can follow us on social media. We're at Our Mousecapades. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and even Twitter.
Please take a moment and give us a rating and review in your podcast app. It really helps people find us.
And of course, don't hesitate to share us with your friends and fellow Disney lovers of all ages.
Thank you for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.